after okaying a 20-foot-tall Trump baby balloon to be flown over Parliament Square for the U.S. president's arrival. London's Muslim Mayor Sadiq Khan just received the perfect dose of his own medicine. When Barack Obama was elected president, the left strangely lost their sense of humor in regards to satirizing the presidency. 8 years later, they've suddenly rediscovered the art of parody, relentlessly mocking President Donald Trump without end. Unfortunately, the vitriol from the left has completely clouded what little rationality they had, causing them to spiral into desperation and insanity. Of course, their unhinged rage has produced little more than pitiful and cringe-worthy protests, and it's only making the case for Trump 2020. As one of President Donald Trump's most vocal critics in the UK, London Mayor Sadiq Khan has not only called for his country's greatest and most vital ally to be banned, he's now sanctioning disrespectful and churlish demonstrations on a taxpayer-funded property. In preparation for Trump's upcoming trip to the UK on July 12 and 13, Khan gave his approval for a 20-foot Trump baby balloon to fly over Parliament Square during the historical visit. Khan lazily justified his approval of raising the inflatable caricature by arguing that he supports the right to peaceful protest. According to The Sunday, however, conservative counter-protesters are about to force Khan to practice what he preaches. After London Mayor Sadiq Khan approved a Trump baby balloon mocking the U.S. president to fly over Parliament Square, Londoners are raising funds to fly a Khan baby balloon, featuring an unflattering caricature of a Muslim mayor in a diaper. The fundraiser on crowdfunder.com has raised over $22,000 for the balloon, which is just $4,000 away from their new goal. Khan will be well done, party people, they've reached their target. But now going for so much more, aiming for a pro-Brexit balloon too. Now more than ever we need to remind our politicians who their masters are. Constantly offended, at constant offense. July 6, 2018. Additionally, British politician Nigel Farage pointed out Khan's hypocrisy, asking if he would have approved of a 20-foot Obama baby balloon during a visit from the former president. The Express reports, a furious Mr. Farage ripped into the London mayor during his evening LBC radio show. "I think to have allowed this blimp, it's a step too far. Would you have allowed this to happen if it was of Obama?" Farage also exposed Khan's virtue signaling on the issue of Trump's travel ban, reminding the mayor that he had no problem when Obama implemented the same restrictions. Mr. Farage continued, "Sadiq, you might not like Mr. Trump. You might not like his style, you might find him very confrontational and you didn't like the so-called Muslim ban. But Sadiq, where were you when President Obama introduced a total ban on refugees coming from 7 predominantly Muslim countries? I didn't hear the howls of outrage. I didn't see the protests in the streets of London back in 2016. Angry Britons confirmed Farage's reasoning, demanding that a Khan baby also flies over Parliament Square for the sake of peaceful protest. Others reminded the Muslim mayor of his skyrocketing crime rate, which has risen in every area since his 2016 election. Then he must allow the Khan in a nappy to fly. Would be good if it has the number if, sick, murders, rapes, acid attacks, and moped attacks under overpaid vile man. One commenter said, "They won't allow Tommy Robinson to talk against Islam, but suddenly they can allow freedom of expression to try and humiliate President Trump, who represents our country." Another wrote, "Looks like free speech only goes one way. Nice to see Khan has his priorities right. How pathetic can you get?" Another commented, "Now if he had argued for and got extra police on the streets, dealt with the gangs and moped thieves, maybe this country wouldn't be a laughingstock." So whilst Mayor Khan is endorsing protest on the streets of London, murders, scooter robberies, offences against persons and property are out of control. Another wrote, "I think this man needs to get his priorities right." British Tory MP Philip Davis also blasted Khan for his childish display, arguing that the Muslim mayor should be more concerned about his economic failure than mocking President Trump for exposing them. Philip Davis said, "He seems to be more interested in sidling up to labor groups like Momentum than delivering on their best for the British economy." Of course, Trump won't even catch a glimpse of the Trump baby, despite the exhaustive efforts of the unhinged protesters. In fact, the closest he's expected to come to Parliament Square, where the balloon will be flown, is 40 miles away at Chequers, the Prime Minister's Buckinghamshire home. Mayor Sadiq Khan is patronizingly trying to hide his biased progressive agenda under the guise of the very liberties he undermines, and Britons are sick of it. Khan doesn't represent the will of all Londoners, many of whom support President Donald Trump and love America. Hopefully, Londoners will make Khan practice what he preaches by flying their own Khan baby balloon over Parliament Square, since he's suddenly such a fan of peaceful protests.